bunch to talk about here today. Like the press conferences from Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore last week. The players are bonding, better than ever before. The newest addition to the team, Sean Stevens, making a major splash already. Jason Kelsey feeling the vibe, and he's been in the building every day. The Chip Kelly debacle and more, man. Look, y'all stay tapped in. Hey, yo. Hey, look, man, this right here is for the G's and the OGs. But you already know what to do. But if you're new to the channel and you like content like this, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to like. I need you to comment. I need you to subscribe. I need you to share this. I need you to hit that notification bell so you always up to date. But look, check this out, man. First off, I want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers across the world. Y'all are so important. Without y'all, man, this world will not turn. So shout out to y'all. And look, man, I'm glad y'all are part of what we do every day. But check this out, man. We about to get right into it. We're going to play a couple videos of Vic Fangio and also Kellen Moore. A few videos that resonated with me. And we're going to give a quick live reaction. But I want to know, did y'all notice that the last time Fangio was involved with the team, we went to the Super Bowl in 2022. This is what he said about that time.
I wouldn't hear that often. I really helped the offense. I'd say 95% of any of my contributions were to the offense and 5% to the defense. That's basically what I was doing, educating, trying to give the offensive coaches a pre-look at the defense they're going against, what could possibly hurt them, what's their strengths, what's their weaknesses, schematically where they can be attacked maybe and not attacked.
So there you go, man. And in my opinion, this is exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles was missing last season. The experience, how versatile his scheme can be. Those things are important when it comes to, success in the NFL. But look, man, real quick, man, let's listen to Vic talk about how he feels about using versatile players on the team.
Good players. And I'm not trying to be a wise guy with that, but, we have a system that is versatile. We like to think that, it needs to be versatile because every week you're facing different strengths of an offense, different schemes. So what you play in one week 10, 15 times, you may not play it all the next week. So you have to have a versatile system for the offenses today in the NFL. And what we'll eventually do is learn what our guys are best at. So I like to throw a lot at them early because I think one of the worst things you can do is come week 3, week 5, man, we could really use this scheme, but it hadn't been introduced to the players yet. Whereas if you introduced it to them in training camp and worked on it, when you pull it back out 3-4 weeks later, there's recall. So we'll throw a lot at them in training camp to see what best fits for them, what they're good at, and then try and whittle it down. But always keeping some stuff in the bank in case we need it at some point.
See, it's a lot to unpack right there. You know what I mean? But we're going to just give you the small version of how I feel about that. That's amazing. Basically, he's saying, we're going to give the players what they need early on in training camp, preseason. We're going to give them what they need. We're going to throw a lot at them. And we may not use all of it, but they have seen it before. That's what you got to understand. When you see something before and it comes back to you, you kind of take it in a little different. Pause. So that's basically what he's saying, man. He's like, look, man, with the collapse that we had last season and just not having no answers, basically he's saying he's not about to go through that. He's not about to go through that. He's going to let the cat out the bag. He's going to give the players what they need to be successful. He's going to throw a lot at them. He's not going to, necessarily expect them to understand it right then and there. But, if that scheme gets to a point where it ain't working at that point in the season, he's ready for a change. He's ready to show people that he's just not stuck in one motion. He's versatile. Like I said, man, that's something that, we were missing last season. And I really feel comfortable with Vic Fangio. And I really feel like he has the best interest in the team. You know what I'm saying? But let's listen to, what he thinks, with the linebackers still being a concern for me and many others as well. Here's what Vic Fangio thinks of the linebackers on the roster.
Well, when you say linebacker, I think inside linebackers. Okay. I think they're off to a good start. We've got Bond here who's played a little bit of inside linebacker in New Orleans. He really didn't play a whole lot of defense there, but he was inside some, more outside. We think he can play inside, and I have not seen anything so far that says otherwise. Obviously, we got Devin here from Tampa. You guys are well aware of him. He had a great career going, had a down year last year for whatever reason. We hope to get him back to where he was. Nakobe's on the mend from his injuries last year. Who am I forgetting here? Keep going.
There's Trotters.
Yeah, Trotter's got to come in and join the fray, and let's see what he has. And Burks, too, he's been a veteran backup. He's in the hunt, too. So, we don't have anybody established as, per se, an Eagle, but we've got guys to work with, and we're happy with the group so far.
So check it out, man. It makes me a bit more comfortable, that Vic Fangio feels like the linebackers that we have currently on the roster, can make a splash, basically. And that's cool, man. That's good to know because we all know in Vic Fangio's scheme, good linebacker play is important. It's imperative to the success of this defense. And, he did bring up Zach Bond, a player who I think is very versatile, who can play many different positions at the linebacker spot. Like he said, I thought maybe he was just a right outside linebacker, but it looks like he's trying to use him the way he used Gankle in Miami last season, probably maybe at right, maybe he could play middle, he can play left. We're just trying to figure out, who's comfortable with what. As you already know, Devin White is a part of the linebacking core for the Philadelphia Eagles this season. We're going to be expecting a lot out of him. So, there's so many things, that we have to unpack and we have to, wait for preseason and training camp to kind of figure out, what we're going to look like defensively. But at the same time, man, I have all the confidence in the world in Vic Fangio, especially since, everybody is so uncomfortable with the linebacker position at the current moment, especially since we did not address that until the 5th round in the draft. But at the same time, man, I'm hoping that the scheme that he put in place and, the players understand it. The players get to playing good football early in the season, and this defense don't start out slow. But real quick, man, this is real funny to me, man. I want to talk about, how Vic Fangio, ranks limiting explosive plays, sacking the quarterback, and also offensive scoring, because this is something that, the Philadelphia Eagles had trouble with last season. We couldn't stop a cold. We couldn't stop nothing. So, bringing Fangio in here, man, I really feel like we can sew that up a little bit and limit some of those big plays. But this is how he feels.
In terms of limiting explosive plays, where do you rank that in terms of priorities?
High.
Highest?
It's high.
What about getting after the quarterback? How big is that for you?
High.
Highest?
It's high.
How about not letting the other team score? Where's that kind of rank?
That's number one. That's the highest.
So as you could tell, man, Vic Fangio is on a mission, right? He's going to instill how important it is, that we start strong on defense and we kill these explosive plays. You know, it was a lot of times last year where explosive plays was happening effortlessly on the defensive side of the ball. We couldn't stop nothing. So it's important, you know, that he makes it known, you know, that stopping offenses, sacking the quarterback. We were a 70 sack team in 2022, and that kind of plummeted in 2023. You know, sacking the quarterback helps out more than just, you know, the defensive line. It helps out the cornerbacks. It helps out the back end. It definitely changes the pace of the game for the offense. So it's important to do all these things. It's important to do all these things, man. And Vic Fangio is making sure that that's high up on a priority list. And I'm cool with that. And I'm cool with that, you know, to the max, man. Basically, you know, with the epic collapse, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles had in the last 7 games of the year, you know, that was a dreadful defense. But let's listen, you know, to what Vic said, you know, that he would do in those similar situations.
When things aren't going good, you need to go back to basics. You know, I'll tell the players early in camp that if we're struggling, don't expect me to magically scheme our way out of it during a game. We're going back to basics, and we're going to call the things that we've been practicing since day one, and we got to fight our way out of it. And if you don't have that foundation and you're always grabbing for the perfect call, you'll be okay for a little bit, but eventually you're going to get gashed.
Wow. That's important, y'all. Look, man, leave a comment down below on how y'all feel about Vic Fangio and his attitude towards, you know, making his defense better. You know, just think about something, man. That's a lot going on right there. It's a lot going on right there, man. He's ready. He's ready, man. And, you know, we're ready to see how this thing goes. He's just letting you know that structure is needed. Structure is needed with this team. And it's going to be times where, you know, the scheme that you come out with or you've been game planning for all week, it may not work. It may not work. And what he's telling these guys is we're going to stick to the basics. We're going to get back to the basics. Getting back to the basics is important in every situation. Whatever you doing, you know what I mean? It's like, I love to audio engineer. I love to make videos. I have my own company, you know, but knowing the basics of what I do is very important with that end goal. You know, having that extreme structure, you know, that you can lean on in certain situations is very important. It's very important. So real quick, man, like I said, man, leave a comment and let me know how y'all feel about Vic Fangio. I've been hearing so many things, you know, like there's some fans who like Vic, you know, there's some fans who's not impressed with Vic. Me, myself, I'm happy that Vic Fangio is here. You know, a guy who loves Philadelphia, you know, who's been here before. He started his career as with the Philadelphia Eagles. And, you know, according to him, he wants to end it. He wants to end it with the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's just letting me know that it's nothing else after this. He just want to get this team successful and put some more jewelry on their fingers. And we cool with that. We are cool with that. But look, man, let's get on to Kellen Moore, you know, a guy who, you know, is really 50-50 in this fan base. Definitely these Dallas Cowboy fans is definitely saying that, you know, we are way too hype about Kellen Moore. We shouldn't trust Kellen Moore, but that's not how I feel, man. I really feel like Kellen Moore and that scheme that he's bringing over here is going to be dynamic. You know what I'm saying? And this is the first time that Kellen Moore is going to have the talent at his disposal because just think about it, man. He has some good talent. Dallas had some success under the Kellen Moore regime. Of course, he was only in at the Chargers for 1 year, you know, so we can't sit here and say, you know, that the success that he got there, you know, or the unsuccess that he had there, you know, was all on him. That quarterback was hurt a lot. You know, that team is broken apart right now. So that's telling you, you know, where they were at the present time. You know what I'm saying? But Kellen Moore, man, let's listen to him and his plans moving forward, with the changes on the offensive scheme.
Yeah, I think everyone's got their different flavor from a systematic approach. I think our real focus here as we've gone through this process is, we got a lot of good going on, and we can't lose the good and the reps that, Jalen and AJ have developed and Dallas has developed, and this offensive line have developed, and how can we build off of those things and really connect the whole thing. And so that's been a really fun process. There'll be tweaks, there'll be changes. Everything's constantly evolving. That's part of this whole offseason program. I mean, we just got to our first week of actually being on the field with these guys. Once you get on the field, things just start evolving. And so that's really where we're at. We're at a really beginning level of this thing. We're really excited to go through this process with phase 3, get a little bit more field work. And then really when you get to training camps, when you can really hammer in the run game and the play action game and how all that stuff connects.
Cool. I like that, Kellen Moore. Basically what he's saying is, with the success that the Philadelphia Eagles have had with Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, you don't want to do too much to take away, the cohesion that they have. But, what you want to do is do things to grow it, make opportunities for those guys to make better plays out there on the field, longer, all year instead of for half the year or a little bit over half the year. Kellen is basically saying, we're gonna keep the thing, we're gonna keep, what we've seen between AJ and Smitty and Jalen Hurts. We want that to stay the same, but we wanted to get better. We want to grow. We wanted to evolve, right? We want to see these guys continue to grow as a team and end up being better. So I'm cool with what I'm seeing from Kellen Moore at the present moment, man. I'm cool with what he's saying. But basically, if I hear Kellen Moore say the word process again, I'm going flip out, man. You got to leave that word alone. I heard that if I had a nickel for every time this dude said process in this presser, man, I'd be a rich man. But check this out, man. Check how this is about to go.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Jalen's process. So far, I think really it's focused on how he processes the game and just kind of the classroom aspect of it. And we're beginning the field process of really getting out on the field and being able to do this thing. But I've really enjoyed our conversations. I think he's a really smart player. He has a great feel for this game. The more conversation we have, the more we get to make these adjustments and build off of this thing. But Jalen's one of the premier quarterbacks in this league for a reason. And you see it, on film previously, but obviously getting on the field now, you're certainly seeing it.
Getting Jalen Hurts back to 2022 Jalen Hurts, MVP caliber Jalen Hurts is what we need to see from Kellen Moore, is what we need to see from Nussmeier. We need to make sure that that everything is simplified for Jalen. We need to make sure that, he's seeing what he needs to see on the field, the proper reads. He's going through his progressions. Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback, but he needs the proper guidance. And I think that's what he was missing last season. You know what I'm saying? It was super important, to me, knowing how little the Philadelphia Eagles used motion last year. Like it was embarrassing. And how important it is to have it installed in your scheme, man. Check what Kellen Moore, said about the motion, because you already know he's a monster when it comes to motion.
Yeah, certainly the shift in motion aspect of it. It probably goes back, to how I grew up around the game with my dad being a high school coach and being in college at Boise State. We kind of used it a lot. And so it's always kind of stuck with me. I think there's obviously advantages to it. There's some things that you're trying to gather information for the defense, and there's other times you're simply stressing the defense. And so, I think there's those two elements, and ultimately you're trying to build packages and create things so that the run and the action game and the drop back game, and so there's alignment and there's similarities with the presentations that allows us to stress the defense with those different looks.
Bet. Check this out, man. I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles and, Nick Sirianni did us a disservice by not using motion, by not using pre-snap motion. Like I said, man, I've been, harping on how pre-snap motion, creates matchup nightmares, how it kind of shows, the defense hand a little bit, and we just didn't use it. You know what I'm saying? And that was a problem for us. And I think, bringing Kellen Moore over here, and that was probably the main reason why we did that. because Kellen Moore's scheme, that Boise State scheme, it uses tons of motion. And, you know, out of that 12-man personnel, it's just so many different ways to make the defense a little bit uncomfortable, to make them use their eyes a little bit more than they would like. So, you know, Kellen Moore is destined for greatness when it comes to, you know, how he's going to work that motion into this offensive scheme. And I can't wait to see it. But look, man, let's, you know, listen to how Kellen Moore looks forward to being a play caller, you know, for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Play caller, you learn from each and every experience. I think that's the big thing. I don't think I'm stuck in this is the one way of doing things. You know, my dad was a high school coach. I was fortunate to play in college for Chris Peterson, who was a really phenomenal coach at Boise State. Through my NFL journey, I've been with a bunch of head coaches, whether I was a player or a coach. And so you take different examples from each and every one of those guys. And so you're continuing to evolve as a coach, just like our systems continue to evolve. And I think that's the biggest thing, is we just embrace that, you know, we're constantly trying to find what's the next element, what's the new thing, what's something that can give us an advantage. And I think that's the most important aspect of this thing.
Kellen Moore, we're expecting you to show up and show out and have some of the best play calling we've seen in a long time. Like we need that. Last year was an issue when it came to play calling, when it came to using the middle of the field, when it came to using hot reads, you know, when it came to using the check downs, it was just atrocious. So we're expecting Kellen Moore to come in here and show us some good, the good that he's talking about, you know, with the play calling. So I'm not going to get too far into that or too deep, because I'm not sure of Kellen Moore's play calling completely yet, and I don't want to get too crazy and say too much. But look, man, let's listen to how Kellen Moore feels about having a top-notch running back and Saquon Barkley on the roster, you know, this coming season.
Saquon's a premier running back first and foremost, and so we're really excited about his ability to run the football. Obviously, behind this offensive line has done a tremendous job, and they have such cohesion and done a great job up front. He's going to be a great running back, but obviously we know the aspects that make him great is his ability to be a pass protector, to be a receiver out of the backfield. He does a phenomenal job with those things, and I think, you know, obviously we got to try and utilize him as much as we can while understand it's a long season for all running backs. And so, you know, I think we got some great guys behind him, and Kenny and Will and all the rest of the guys over there that we're excited about.
Absolutely. It's extremely important to have a running back like Saquon Barkley on this roster, you know, because having Saquon back there, having Jalen Hurts back there, you know, it brings a different dynamic that, you know, we haven't seen in a long time, you know, for the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, Saquon could really be a game changer, Saquon could really change, you know, the dynamic of the running back position. Even though I enjoyed having DeAndre Swift on his roster, I think he did well. You know, his first 1,000-yard receiver, running his first 1,000-yard season, you know, came behind offensive line that we have. The Philadelphia Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in the league. You know what I mean? So putting Saquon behind this offensive line could really, really, really be dangerous for a lot of teams, especially if he can stay healthy, you know, and I think he will. I think he will, man. I think he will stay healthy. But look, man, let's hear from Kellen Moore on, you know, him and Nick Sirianni and how they've been vibing so far.
And Nick and I, you know, we just had some great conversation. Obviously, we've you know, been in contact. We've known each other for a number of years just from afar, and so tons of respect for Nick. Really enjoyed, you know, when we competed from opposite sidelines, but then obviously get to know him off the field. We went through the interview process. It was phenomenal. Really good group. I think the biggest thing was, you know, I felt like, hey, we got some really good stuff going on here, and we can't lose the good. And so Nick and I are really excited just to team up on this thing, team up as a whole offensive staff, and really just build this offense exactly how we want to in 2024.
Check it. I like everything Kellen Moore said, but please keep Nick Sirianni away from the playbook. You know, let him shake hands and kiss the babies. Listen to how Kellen Moore feels about, you know, giving Jalen Hurts full autonomy, at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, ultimately they have a front view seat at this thing, and so we want to give the QB tools and the ability to make the adjustments necessary at the line of scrimmage, while also trying to keep it as clean and concise so he can play fast. And so ultimately, we want them to have the ability to make the adjustments necessary, but we can't dilute it to the point that he's got 500 million things that he can potentially do at the line of scrimmage, and now we're not all on the same page. And so a lot of times the QB knows what it is, but it's also about making sure all 11 are tied to what those adjustments are. And so Jalen's been phenomenal. I'm excited about building that process with him.
Awesome. Keeping it simple or kissing it, keep it simple, stupid for Jalen Hurts. Making sure that everybody is on the same page as Jalen Hurts. And if it's some type of language or some lingo that's being said, that everybody understand what's being said. That's important. That's important on the success of this offense. It's important on the success of how this team is going to move. Like I said, man, y'all leave a comment down below. Let me know how y'all feel about what y'all seen, what y'all heard from Kellen Moore, and also from Vic Fangio. I want to know what y'all feel. So leave a comment down below and let me know how y'all feel, man. But real quick, man, let's talk about, what has been going on behind the scenes. The players have been bonding. They have been, putting in work. The leaders of this team, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, all Jalen Hurts, guys like that, they've been leading in charge. And look at this, man. I want to show y'all, AJ on the bike, getting turned up. I love to see it. I love to see it, man. Only thing that I ask is that AJ don't do what he did last year, in that bike tournament. Just don't do that. Stay safe. You can see the guys are working hard. They definitely, putting in the effort. And look, man, that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Real quick, man, let's look at, Sidney Brown and Kenneth Gainwell competing.
Going up the hole. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. You got see that leg shaking. All right. They shaking. That boy playing. See if you can let go and catch it before it drops. Hey, rep. Here we go. Not you anymore. Here we go. That left hand. That left hand. That left hand right there.
There you go. There you go. More competition, man. That's what it's about. That's what it's about, man. It's about competing. It's about getting better. It's about holding your teammates accountable. You know, these are the things, you know, that make championship teams come alive. And we love to see it. We love to see it, man. But real quick, man, I want to take a second and talk about Sean Stevens, the new cornerback addition, you know, already showing his worth at rookie minicamp, you know, already getting turnovers, you know, making a name for himself. You know, we turned up last week for him because he was out there putting in work. You know what I mean? I want to show y'all a couple of pictures of this guy and how he's putting in work, man. Wow, look at that, man. Look at that, man. He's already turning the ball over, making it almost extremely important that he earns a roster spot. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But man, you know what we're going to do, man? We're going to turn up for my man again. Pause. We're going to turn up for him again. Let's do it. All right, man. I want to get into something really important, man. Something that's been buzzing around the stadium. Jason Kelce, he ain't chilling. You know, after hanging up his cleats like 2 months back, you know, dude has been hitting up the Eagles facility almost every day since March. You know, Jake Elliott spilled the beans, you know, saying that Kelce and Fletcher ain't been ghosting the team. You know, they've been dropping by, leaving wisdom, crumbs for the newbies. You know, he's even lifting weights at the facility. You know what I mean? Just basically staying in the mix. And hey, he got his podcast and the gig with ESPN now as well. So there you go, man. Could it be a possibility that Jason Kelce returns for another year? You know, I mean, I don't think so, but you know, there's been a lot of rumors, you know, that he may come back and try to give it a go for one more year, especially with the cohesion that he's been seeing from the team. But like I said, man, I'm always open to it. Kelce being one of those guys who I love. Pause. He did so much for this team. He gave his heart, his soul to this team. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be cool with it. I'll be cool with it. But you just never know. But if it was to happen, I would report on that instant. I would be bringing that work because that would be amazing. That would be amazing. But real quick, man, I don't want to get off into this too deep. Pause. But I want to talk about, you know, how Chip Kelly is a piece of shit. Let's basically call a spade, and the things, you know, that he did to tear this team apart. You know, how he tried to do more damage by trading BG. You know, but our great owner Jeff Lurie was able to jump in and put a stop to it. You know, how he traded, you know, Shady McCoy and Kiko for Kiko Alonso. And this is how we feel about that, man. Look, check this out.
Kiko Alonso wasn't nothing.
I'm going to play it again. Here we go. Check it out.
Alonso wasn't nothing.
Look, man, Elliot Shore Parks wrote an article about D-Jax that made him seem like, you know, D-Jax was in the gang, you know, because he took a picture with his childhood friend, you know, who was sent to prison for murder. And he helped his friend with the lawyer by picking up his friend from prison, you know, and taking pictures with him. So look, man, Chip Kelly ruined the Philadelphia Eagles. And we don't like him for that. We hate him for that. But we're going to leave it right there today. If you made it this far in the video, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? Hot out.